I think these are really nice cars. I think both of them are really nice cars, and they both have their own special features. That one has a lot of believability, and this one has a nice custom 1950s vintage engine, and it's a slightly larger scale. Um, and they're, if you build them stock, it's a good way to relive the happy days. Um, they're I enjoyed building them both, and I highly recommend getting these cars. The only caveat I really have is I didn't paint this one, and it has that the hole in the firewall, and I think instead of trying to go and redo that and tearing this one apart, because I hate to ruin it now, I'm just going to get a new one, start over, try to find some aqua blue paint. I love that color. That's a real 1950s color, real trendy for 1950s, and paint it again, along with the firewall after I filled it in, of course. I'm also going to paint the interior. Haven't decided, probably some of a darker blue. I got right on with the dark, the other tone on the seats is black on the hard tops. On this one, I should have painted the seats a darker color. On the hard tops, they weren't white, only on the convertibles, I think, is my understanding. And I like the red rims. I think I did kind of a sloppy job on it, but anyway, these are good cars, and if you have the right tools and you have more finger coordination than I do, you could, I mean, I'm happy with the way they turned out, as far as I'm concerned, but I think that anyone would enjoy putting these kits together, and a lot of people would probably do a better job than I did because this. But again, these I've only done a few models. I've done probably 5 or 6, maybe 7 total. Let's see. And next time, what I'm going to do. Dual tone it because it comes. I had to. What I actually did was I masked both of these off and painted the top white with spray paint, but it still got a little blotchy. So I think next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the top and just paint the whole thing blue like I want it, or whatever, red, and then I'm going to take the top and just cut the top off and just paint it without having to mask it, because when I mask it gets all over the place. The masking didn't work, and I put a plastic kind of a sandwich piece of a sandwich bag up here, and I taped it really tightly along here, but all it did was it made the paint rough. It came out smooth, but then I had to get some turpentine, or not turpentine, paint thinner to get the stupid paint off of the fucking windows and everything, because the fucking tape wasn't holding it, doing its job. So next time I'll probably just cut the top off before I put the windshields in. Just paint the hell out of that white. No discretion, and that way it'll be a hell of a lot easier to get it to look better. And then just glue it back on when I'm done. And it'll be easy. And then paint silver over, mask it over the glue and stuff. And I'd love to try and see how that looks painted. That is a nice car. I wished it had the fuel-injected engine. I also wish it was a little bit bigger. I wish and AMT would make one of these like this one, with these features in this one, along with maybe a fuel injection option, along with a stock option, but leave them both in the 1950s, no hot rodding or anything, just either a fuel injected, mechanical fuel injected 1957, or the carbureted 1957. And on this one, I'm happy with. I think they could have gone a little more with the. If you wanted to make it a stock, for God's sakes, allow it to look somewhat. Look more authentic. I had to chop the suspension to get the wheels to go down. It was riding way up too high, because the skirt here is, I mean, I could be wrong, but it covers up to the hubcap. And before I chopped this down, it was the whole white wall on this tire nearly, and you could see part of the tire, the black part of the tire up there. It looked like a goddamn derby. It did not look like a 1950s car you'd see in Leave It to Beaver, you know, unless Eddie Haskell had fucked it up or something, you know. So, you know, it's a nice car, but it's more for hot rodders. Even if you want to do it custom, you may as well do it hot rod. Next time I get one of these, I'm going to do a hot rod, and I'm going to lift the suspension. It has a lifter kit, but even without the lifter kit, it's still too fucking high on the front and the back. You know, so it's more of a hot rod car. You know, use the rally wheels, so I recommend it's for hot rodders. You know, you can go all out and hot rod it. It's rally wheels. It has rally wheels with it. These aren't rally, but it has rally wheels with it. And then get the lift kit to lift this back end up, and then it has a nice motor with a blower. You can cut this top out here and put a scoop up here, and then it's got some racing steering wheels, some bucket seats, all that good stuff, exhaust and whatnot. But I don't really, except for this unique fuel injected engine, I don't really recommend it for stock people. I just wanted to do it because it had the mechanical fuel injected engine, which is pretty unusual for the 1950s. You know, we know what fuel injection was in those days. And this one is, I recommend it. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of custom options like, you know, the fuel injection engine or anything, but it's a nice vintage car. It's got a vintage look. The front end comes more to a point up here. This one is a little more flat. I mean, like I say, that is a hot rod. I still like it, even as a stock, partly because I kit bashed the hell out of it to get these to work right. But, and I need to put that back on there. But, and it'll look better with this grill back on here. It's the reason it's down there low is because it's loose. It'll go up higher than that. And it'll look more like a 50s car. It won't look like a pimp ride, and it won't look like a hot rod either. You know, it only looks like it's dragging the ground because I haven't really glued it on there yet. It'll be up about as high as that one when I do get it glued on back on there. So I recommend this one 100%. I recommend that if you get it, that you fill in that hole where the firewall is, because it looks absolutely horrible. And I'm sure if you go on YouTube or somewhere, you'll find a video of some underhood components of these cars, these 57s, and a real car, to see what goes there, or if anything at all goes there. You know. Now this one, it has 2 notches, but I can forgive it because the hood has levers on it. So I can forgive that, even though, you know, they're pretty big, and I don't think the real cars, those notches in the firewall are that big. Well, it's a fucking model, so who cares? It's a skill level 2 too, so you know you can forgive some of that. But there's absolutely no logical reason for this hole to be here. I don't know why it's there. I don't know why they put it there, but it's not a big deal. All you can do is get a piece of scrap plastic and just putty it in there and glue it in there or whatever, and just maybe sand it down a little bit and then paint over it. It'll look like it was never there in the first place. These are both good cars, and if you want the vintage look, I recommend this one. If you want a hot rod, or you want that kind of authentic fuel injected unique car, I haven't seen any other 57 Chevy models that have that, and I recommend this one. So whichever one, you know, that I recommend them both. I think they're good cars. I like them a lot, and I enjoyed building them. And I'm going to do some others too, some other 57s.